Harihi Om Shruti Smruti Purananamalayam Karunayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Sasharira Maho Vishwam Parityajyanayadhuna Kutaschit Kaushala Deva Paramatma Vilokyate. Aho means wonder. What a wonder. You see, there is a thing called wonder in you. We lose it, gradually lose it. When suppose you are looking at the rising sun, a spectacular picture or appearance, and then immediately, without your effort, without your volition, immediately a sense of wonder rises in your heart. And in that wonder, you lose yourself. You, the person, will not be there when there is wonder. Also, when there is wonder, there is a communion. Namely, the sun is the seen, it is the other. I am the one who sees the sun, the other. That division, the subject-object division, collapses. And therefore now the knower-known division is absent. There is only the knowing, which is wondrous. And that is the wonder. That wonder is called bhakti. It's called devotion, bhakti. But what happens, the human mind functions in a very funny way. The human mind wants a few things. One, it wants the experience to be repeated. Once you convert the wonder into an experience, once you see something and store it in the brain cells as an experience. At that place, that morning when I was standing there was sunrise and it is very beautiful. So that is the experience. Therefore the wonder is translated or converted into an experience. Experience means what? The sensorial and mental. That is what experience is. You see with the sense organ, namely the eyesight, and you know it or cognize it with the mind. That is how an experience is created. And therefore, the mind translates that moment of communion, that moment of wonder into an experience and stores it in the brain cells as an experience. And then you want that experience to be repeated. And therefore, with that attitude of repeating the experience, when you go to the same place next day and stand there, and hopefully there were no clouds, etc., and the sun is again rising, and you look at it, you do not get any wonder anymore. Because the moment the mind translates the wonder into an experience and it wants to repeat, you lose it. You won't get it anymore. So that is number one. Number two, you want to record that scene in a camera, and so by the time the mind performs such a silly act of taking a camera and photographing it, you have lost any chance of that wonder anymore. Because this camera is such a thing, it converts the present into the past so that you can enjoy it in the future. That is what a camera does. And therefore, the present is destroyed because you want to convert it into the past and you want to enjoy it in the future. So your capacity to enjoy the present, to relish the presence is totally destroyed by the time you take a camera and try to capture it. That's why I pity these camera hanging people. Those who hang the camera from the shoulder, I pity it. And if they give a camera to me, I will throw it to the dustbin immediately. Because we don't need it. Because it converts the truth, the reality, into Nama Rupa. That is what the camera does. You are standing before something you love, and therefore the love is forgotten, and everything is converted into Nama Rupa so that it can be stored in an album and you can see it sometime later. And after a while the albums grow. And when will you see all these things? You are caught in the net of samsara already, and so you won't get any time to see these albums and these pictures. I can tell you only one thing if you don't mind me telling. People are nuts. That is what they are. Nothing more. That is the second point. Third point, what is the third point? So, the division is created, and so me the knower or the seer, and the other is the seen, and so it becomes mechanical. Like you look at say Radha Krishna's figure, it enthuses you the first time, and there could be a communion, but soon it becomes the routine, and it becomes mechanical, and you look at the same Krishna's idol day after day after day, and you repeat the same ritual day after day after day. No wonder is left, no enthusement or enthusiasm will be left in the human heart. It becomes merely a mechanical thing, a movement of brain cells. That is how it becomes. Do you want to call that bhakti? I am not sure. Therefore, that wonder, one has to retain it. As long as you retain the wonder, I asked a person, he is doing some namaskar to Radha Krishna and going around and whatever. I asked him one question. When you look at that idol of Krishna, that murti of Krishna, do you experience a wonder in your heart? Because the murti stands for something unique, something out of this world. It stands for knowledge, wisdom, love and bliss. That is what the murti stands for. And when you understand that, what this murti signifies, there would be a wonder in your heart. Do you have it? He said, what is the wonder about it? I am going round 3 times. So what is wonder about it? So like that. So that means you are stuck with a ritual divested of devotion. There is no devotion left in it. In fact, we convert the devotion into ritual. The ritualization, everything is converted into a ritual. Like suppose you consider a person guru, for whatever that means, without learning anything. You look at that. Look at that. Without learning anything, you convert a person into a guru. In India, just because you wear a particular dress, you become a great man. And also a guru. Therefore, you have already converted the person into a guru. And therefore, immediately, this idea of reverence comes into the mind. You have to revere the guru. So how are you going to revere the guru? How do you want to pay the reverence to the guru? I suggest like this. Please see whether what I suggest, it agrees with the conduct of these devotees or not. Get hold of 2 ropes. With one rope, tie the feet of the guru. Both feet together you tie. With the other rope, tie the trunk of the guru to the chair so that he won't get up and run away. So having accomplished that, put a silver, if possible a gold plate underneath the feet, and then pour milk over the feet. Can you believe it? What a crazy world this is. You call that reverence to the guru? Is that the way to revere a guru? Put milk on the feet. Milk you have to put a little of it after heating in coffee, not on the feet of some human being. Who told you? What is this kind of reverence? And put honey, he should not run away. Therefore, you have to tie the legs and they do that. They do that. Not in a literal sense. Do you understand what I am saying? Not literally, but in effect. Am I right? Now the poor guru cannot get up. Once I was sitting beside Puja Swamiji in Hyderabad, and this gentleman, he started 108 Ashtottara Shatanama Puja, Guru Ashtottara Shatanama Puja, he started. Then Swamiji helplessly looked at me. I was sitting there, he looked at me helplessly. His feet were already tied with a rope and his trunk was also tied with a rope. Don't look at me like that. It is, I am not saying literally, okay, in effect. He cannot get up now, you know. So they have put so many flowers and all that, he cannot get up. He looked at me helplessly. 108 names? Then I intervened and told the gentleman, 108 names are not necessary. The first 10 names are enough. You conclude there. And say the last name, the 108th, you say it. So he said the 108th. Swamiji was very happy and he looked at me with a smile. Thank God. You believe me, I am not exaggerating. You don't know how to revere a Mahatma. You convert the reverence into a ritual. Ritualize the reverence. You convert the devotion into a ritual. You convert wisdom. You want to convert wisdom into a ritual. It is not going to work, I tell you. It never worked till now, and it is not going to work in the future. So, all this discussion came from that single expression, aho. It is already coming 2-3 times. So I thought I will explain what is this aho. It is coming again and again. Aho expresses that wonder. You have to retain that wonder. You have to discover that wonder. Today morning, I came out, it was still dark, and I saw a tree standing out among the woods. There are many trees, but this particular tree stands out because it is so majestic, soaring into the sky, and taller than any other tree around. At least it appeared so in the dusk. And when I looked at it, there was wonder in my heart. That was my prayer. So, wonder. That wonder is devotion. Suppose I look at, you say the name Rama, there is, I hear the word Rama, there is, the hair stands on end. There is a sense of wonder in the heart, not here. The heart skips a beat because Rama, the entire Valmiki's portrayal of Rama, it comes before the mind's eye and there is a sense of wonder. I may not have an idol of Rama doing elaborate pujas and all that, but this wonder that I have in my heart, I consider that as a bhakti. So, do you find such a wonder when you see a flower, a rose? If you are anxious to pluck it and offer to an idol, then there is no wonder. You need not do that. Why should you do that? You should leave the flower alone and wonder at its beauty. That is bhakti. That is the true religion, not the religion practiced by the masses. Therefore, aho, what a wonder. What is the wonder you know here? Vishwam Sashariram, that is the wonder. If you can understand that, there cannot be a bigger wonder than that. That is, the wonder is, you have to pay attention and see that. Namely, there is a world before you. Only when there is a body to see that world. The body and the world together, they come. It is like there is an image on the screen only when there is a lens intercepting the light. Right? Suppose you take out the lens, there will be no image. So, take just some example which came to the mind momentarily. So, an image is there only when there is a lens. Without the lens, there is no image. The lens and the image, they come together. I said image. If you want, you can substitute the word image with a focal point. The focal point and the lens, they come together. Light is always there, but if you put a lens, there is a focal point. Take out the lens, there is no focal point. Light is always there. They come together. This is how the world, the universe, and the body, they are related to each other like that. You cannot have one without the other. It is always like that with the part and the whole. You cannot have the part without the whole. They come together. Unless the whole comes, you cannot have the part. Like you say a wave. You can say a wave only in the context of a water body, the whole. When the context of the whole water body is not there, anything called wave cannot even be thought of. Therefore, a wave and the water body, they come together. The body and the universe, they come together. Don't be carried away by the size and all that. The size doesn't matter. Size is what? It is a projection of the mind only. The small and big, that is how the size is understood. This idea of size is in the mind. The space is a mental category. Time is another mental category. They are mental categories. They are not absolute. We are living in 21st century when Einstein has already lived and he left his mortal frame. Today everybody knows that time is relative to the mind. Space and time cannot be separated. Space-time is a mental category. You have space-time only when there is a mind to project the space-time. In the absence of the mind projecting space-time, you will not have any space-time whatsoever. That's why it is said, if there are no human beings on the earth, all other life is there, except human beings. Every other life form is there on the earth, the forests, the animals, etc., the birds. Then there will be no thing called time on the earth. Time will not be there. Time will be there only when a human mind is there to project time. So time is a mental category. Space is a mental category. That's why the small, big, these ideas, they are only in the mind. Anyway, coming to the point, what I was saying, don't get carried away by the size and all that. It is not the size. Sun may be any big size, but for you, it is a thing that is seen in the horizon by you. That is what it is. So, even a galaxy may be very big, but for you, it is a thing to be seen through a telescope with one eye. That is what it is, the galaxy also. It is an object of your seeing. Therefore, size doesn't matter. The body and the world, they come together and they sync together. Vishwam Sashariram. I will explain a little more. This is a philosophy class, you know. This is not some Purana class, some storytelling. This is a philosophy class. Science of philosophy, that is what we are trying to discuss. So, you see, suppose you are standing before a tree, and here is the tree, the scene, and here I am, the seer, and there is a division, subject-object division. This subject-object division is put in place by the mind. By the mind. So then you may wonder, suppose the mind is temporarily absent or put aside, will there not be subject-object division? No, it will not be there. You can practice it, you can experiment it, you should experiment all these things. So you go and stand before a tree and look at the tree. You have to look at the tree in such a way that the mind doesn't interfere. The eyes are open, the tree is standing before you, but the mind remains suspended. You can do that. You can ask the mind to remain quiet, it remains quiet. You can still keep the eyes open and look at the tree. Okay? The mind is not there, it remains suspended. To begin with, maybe the mind gets baffled. It doesn't want to remain suspended, it gets baffled when you ask it to stop, put aside, when you try to put it aside. But in time, it will learn to keep quiet. Okay? So keep the mind aside and you look at the tree. You are looking at the tree. Now what you are looking at is not a tree. Okay? It is a tree only when you look at it through the prism of the mind. Then only it is a tree. If you don't look at, if the mind is kept suspended, you are not looking at a tree, much less a particular tree. Suppose you are looking at a mango tree, means your mind is working fully. The prism of the mind is in place. That's why I am looking at a mango tree. Suppose you ask the mind, come on, drop these names, mango, guava, all these names you drop. Suppose the mind drops some of its content or some of its baggage. Then you are not looking at a mango tree, you are just looking at a tree. And suppose the mind becomes further quiet, completely suspended, then you are not looking at a tree anymore. Number one. Number two, there is no division of subject and object anymore. When you are not looking at a tree, then you are not a person looking at the tree either. When there is no tree, you are not a person seeing the tree. You are a person seeing the tree only when the thing seen is a tree. This object and subject. Without subject, you cannot have object. Without object, you cannot have subject. And therefore, the subject-object division, it collapses. And there is only seeing. In that seeing, the seer as such and such a person is absent. The seen, the mango tree, is also absent. There is only seeing. This is what is called seeing without the intervention of Namarupa. Because you are such and such a person is a Namarupa and the tree is another Namarupa. So these Namarupas are always the projections of the mind. Now the mind is quiet, therefore there are no projections, and therefore there are no Namarupa anymore. Means you are not a self-conscious person and the thing that is standing before you is not a tree. No Namarupa. And then finally you experience, in that seeing, you experience yourself as the presence and the tree as the presence. And somehow there is no division in that presence. Means that the being which is the tree, the being which you are somehow not separate. The thing that you are looking at is not the other. It is the same being which you yourself are. Got what I mean? This means to have a tree before you, you should have the prism of the mind. Then only you will have the tree before you. The mind is the person. Mind is contained in the body, mind, body go together. That is the sharira. Sthola and sukshma. Sthola is the physical body, sukshma is the subtle body, they are always together. That is the body mind. Till now I said mind, now I have added body to that. The body mind. There is a tree separate from you only when you are a body mind. Got it? When you are not a body mind, then there is no separation, and what you are looking at is not even a tree. It is a presence which is not different from your own presence or being. This is called Advaita. Okay? Therefore, in the place of tree, you put the world. Okay? Tree is only a representative sample. You see a world other than you only when you are a body-mind. When you are not the body-mind, you will not see the world the way you are now seeing. You will not see the world. You will realize that the world is a projection of the mind, as much as the body-mind identified person is a projection of the mind. And both will vanish, and there is only the pure presence, unbounded, undivided, indivisible, uncaused, unsupported, the pure presence, the being, which is the Sat, which is Brahman. Therefore, I wonder, what a wonder it is that when I take myself to be the body-mind, there springs a world before me. Sasharira Maho Vishwam. That's why Ramana Maharshi used to say, when you wake up, the body-mind and the world, they come up together. And when you go to sleep, they sink, they dissolve together. Sasharira Maho Vishwam. Now I have done this thing, namely, I have given up this division of subject and object. I am not the other side of what is before me. What is before me is not the other side of myself, and I am not the other side of what is before me. This subject-object division I have given up. Sasharihiram aham vishwam parityajya aho vishwam parityajya mayadhuna. Now I have given up. Means, this is not difficult either. It is not difficult. It is easy. You see, you stop projecting the Namarupa. That is the meaning of that expression. You stop projecting Namarupa. No Namarupa. So, you see, there is a thing called a pragmatic way of conducting oneself. Suppose you come across a friend that comes to you, you say hello to him, and you address him with his name and all that. I am not saying about such a thing. You do not look at the people separate from you based on body, caste, creed, etc. All these are all Namarupa. And you start paying attention. You take the Namarupa only for the very basic purpose of interaction. Some interaction, like you acquire some food and eat it and keep quiet. Or you say hello to somebody, or you bless somebody, or you seek something from somebody else which you need. So such basic interactions are there. Or you pass through immigration or customs, such interactions will be there. In those contexts, you behave as if you are a Namarupa. But in your consciousness, the Namarupa have no big presence. They are not there is no overwhelming presence of the Namarupa. Like a name. You need a name to be addressed. Somebody calls you, you have to say, you have to give a reply. Like that kind of a thing it is. Therefore you need a name. Therefore you have a name. Like a name is given to the speaker called Swami TV. So somebody says, hello Swami TV, I respond to that call. So that kind of a name. Only that much. The name is not an overwhelming presence in the consciousness. You got the point? Some name. It need not be name. It could be a number also. It need not be name. Why name? 432 is enough. Some such number is enough. Don't need a name. But then, people are going by the name. Let it be done like that. You don't take a stand for the name. You don't take a stand opposite to the name. Either way, you don't take a stand because it is all Namarupa. it has no relevance. It is unreal. And similarly, you don't go on giving Namarupa to the other, like, oh, he is such and such, that is Namarupa, and he is my adversary, that is Namarupa. Adversary is a mental form, he is enemy. Enemy is a mental form. And then he is a Brahmana, I am Kshatriya, etc. These are all mental forms. Physical form and mental form. They are all forms only. So they are all Namarupa. And you stop paying attention to Namarupa. You have to do it for a length of time. Why? Because you have spent whole life in pursuing the Namarupa. When you wanted a necklace, it is the Namarupa that you wanted, nothing else. When you wanted a particular hairstyle, it is the Namarupa that you wanted, nothing else. You wanted a particular title for yourself, that is the Namarupa. So whole life we spend in pursuit of Namarupa, the unreal. This is like Rama going after the golden deer. That's why even Rama was defeated, because he ran after a golden deer. His character did not save him because he was pursuing or he was chasing a mirage. We are no different. We are chasing the Namarupa. And therefore, we are defeated in life again and again and again. Because we are chasing Namarupa. You should stop chasing Namarupa. That's why whenever they want to take a photo, I say, why do you need a photo? What will you do with it? What will you do? You see, people, they take the photograph of the Guru. Sometimes not the entire Guru. Entire Guru means quite big, So, the feet of the Guru, just the feet. You have already tied the feet with a rope. You tied the feet with a rope. Now he cannot change the feet anymore. And they are sitting in a golden plate in the midst of so many flowers, and take a photo of the feet along with those flowers and the golden plate, and make a frame and put on the wall and pursue the world with all your vigor. Pursue the samsara with all the vigor. What a guru it is. It is a travesty of the thing called guru. You pursue the world so vigorously, even a worldly person will be ashamed, I tell you. And the only difference is, the worldly person doesn't have a photograph of Guru's feet, you have it. That is the only difference. You means not you in general, that is the style of speaking. Therefore, this is all self-deception. No value in it. It is all worthless. You have to stop all this. You have to stop. You have to shift the focus of attention away from Namarupa to the real. The real is nameless and formless. So I am that real, because I have given up the Namarupa on both sides. Because the Namarupa on both sides, they go together. There is a Swami TV only because there is a tree before me. If that is not a tree, then I am not a Swami either. I am pure consciousness, and the tree is also the same consciousness, not even a different consciousness. That is the Advaita, that is the Sarvatma Bhava. And therefore, I have given up the Namarupa. People have to do it perseveringly. They have to give up the Namarupa. They have to start. So, you may calibrate it in a particular way. You give up the idea of caste. Give it up. It is a Namarupa. Just give it up. Become casteless, then creedless, then religionless, then raceless. So you become free from all these superimpositions, from all these aropa. You become free. The consciousness which has no caste in it, which has no creed, which has no religion, which has no race, that kind of a consciousness. And finally, it is a human consciousness. And then it is a living consciousness. And finally, it is the consciousness which is no different from existence absolute, the conscious being. Instead of being a human being, you become a conscious being. the consciousness that envelops the entire universe and upholds what all you know, what all you see, what all you hear, all that is upheld by that consciousness. You are that consciousness. Okay? This is the knack or a genius. Knack. K-N-A-C-K. Knack. He says kaushalam, that is the knack. This kaushala comes from kushala. Kushala becomes kaushala. U becomes aum. So this kushala, you hear it in Gita, you hear it in Upanishad, in particular Taittiriya Upanishad. It is a knack. You may want to say skill, you can say skill, nothing wrong in it. But the word skill is used in a particular context of an action. Skill in action. Here no action is involved. It is all the vision. No action. Therefore, I am avoiding the word skill, because skill is reserved for action. Yoga karmasu kaushala. So, therefore, here it is not so much a skill, unless you use the word skill in that sense. There is a knack. You can also say another word, a genius in you, by which you rise above all Namarupa. That is the genius, that is the knack. You see, we are all striving to know God. We are all striving to know God. So, you see, we worship God also. In worshipping God, we have always been worshipping our own innermost self. You worship Rama, Krishna, or whatever, in the outside, in an idol or in any other altar. The altar need not be idle all the time. Need not be idle. Need not be. I have seen and moved with great Mahatmas who are not going after idols. For them, the rising sun is the altar. Sri Ramakrishna was walking with his mother, and it was a full moon. The mother stopped in her tracks and pointed and looked at the moon. Dear son, look at the moon. How beautiful it is. Sri Ramakrishna looked at the moon, and he became like a statue. He went into a kind of a trance or samadhi. Means he is now become, there is a communion with the moon. The moon is the altar. He doesn't need an idol. Doesn't need an idol. It is only an altar. You know what? Sri Ramakrishna, he was looking for a job. His elder brother was a priest in a temple. And his elder brother died or became sick, some such thing. And then the job was offered to him and he took it. And every month on the first, he used to go to the clerk in the office. That temple was run by a lady called Rani Rasamani. And so he goes to the office and takes his salary, some 18 rupees or so. And one day when the salary was given less, he demanded and he took his salary. Hey, I am working for this 18 rupees, give it. So he took it. So he doesn't need a murti and all that. So people have all wrong notions. I have seen so many Mahatmas, so they don't need a murti for worship, because they look at a water body and see God in it. They look at a tree and see God in it. They know nothing is separate from my own inner being. It all is included in my being. What people take it as the other, I take it as myself. The accuser is myself. The judge who convicts me is myself. The gaoler who implements the punishment is also myself. That is how a Mahatma looks at these things. And therefore, so in worshipping the God, we had been always worshipping our own inner self. You see, people describe God, they proclaim God, and then they imagine or they think about a God. So when you think about a God, that God will have a form. When you describe a God, that God will have a form. That God, described by your speech, imagined by your mind, is as much an idol as a form which is shaped by the hand. They are not different. Suppose you have a Krishna's figure before you, and this is how Krishna looks like, that you have in your mind, and you give expression to that feeling. This is how Krishna looks like. So you describe that description, what they call Shabda Chitram, a portrait in words, a portrait that you imagine in the mind, and a physical portrait which is outside. All are same. They are not different. You feel that they are different. You have to believe that they are different. Then only you can have a ritual. Like I have the portrait of Lord Krishna in my mind or in my heart, then I don't need to pluck a flower and offer, because already my heart is offered already. Whereas I only have the portrait of Krishna outside, not so much inside, only outside the portrait is there. Then I feel like going out and plucking a flower and offering it there. This is all the Nama-Rupa thing it is. So the point that I was trying to make is, the God that you are worshipping is indeed very much your own innermost self. Atma, which is immediate, direct. You see, Atma is the pure awareness, direct. Why direct? You should not allow that awareness to be conditioned by the mind. It is like you are looking at something and you allow that scene to be conditioned by the mind and come out with a name and form. Don't do that. You see, I tell you, I ask you, I hope you will get it, I am sure you will get it. I am looking at a flower, okay, I am looking at it. Now, don't call it flower, just I am looking at it. What I am looking at is present or past? Present. Okay, what I am looking at is present. The very act of looking at, I mean, it's not an act, but I am calling it an act. The very act of looking at, is it present or past? Present, not the past. Okay? Then I say, it's a rose. Rose. That rose, is it present or past? Past. It came from the mind. You now know? Now you know. Rose is the name. Name is always the past. The thing is the present. The thing in itself, that is how a Western philosopher called Immanuel Kant called it. The thing in itself. Not the thing means you have already added a name to it. The thing in itself is the present. The name is the past. You know what you are doing? Do you know what you are doing? You are killing the present with the past. Kya baat hai? Now you know why Swami TV is characterized in a particular way. So, you are killing it. When you say it is a rose, you have killed it. And you pluck it. Now, is there any doubt left that you have already killed it? You are killing the rose by plucking it. You see, a person put a rose there. I was a bit unhappy that they have cut a rose and put it there unnecessarily. But anyway, it's a habit. Who am I to stop it? Then the person brought a vase, a glass vase, filled with water, and put this stack containing the rose into that water. I could not contain my curiosity and asked, why do you put water in that vase? Then the person told me, Swami, what are you saying? Otherwise it will wither away quickly.
Withered it before.
You put water and the rose will remain fresh for longer time. What a silly question to ask. Then I asked the person another question, why did you cut it in the first place? Suppose you don't cut it. Suppose you don't put water. It withers in an hour. You put water, it doesn't wither for 6 hours. Suppose you don't cut it, suppose. Then it will remain fresh for 3-4 days. So you are contradicting yourself. On one side you cut it, on the other side you put it in water. So you want to cut it, and at the same time you don't want it to wither. You are working at cross purposes, What a silly thing to do. Anyway, coming to the point, so your direct perception, that direct perception means you be aware of yourself as you are. Be aware of yourself as you are. The pure being, undefined, undifferentiated. That is as you are. The direct perception of yourself. Not as imagined by the mind. Now I ask you, you have a direct perception of yourself as you are, and I give expression to that. The expression is, I am. I am. The direct perception of myself. I am. Right? Now, can you add some definition to that I am? Some description to that I am? You can say, I can say I am a Swami. Now, this Swami comes from the mind. I am a professor, comes from the mind. I am unhappy person, comes from the mind. I am happy person, comes from the mind. I am the husband, I am the father, I am the son. I am a Vaishya, I am a Shudra, whatever. I am Indian, I am an American. Then they are now talking of hyphenated identity. They make a big deal of it. You should have hyphenated identification. Means I am an Indo-American. The big deal about it. In fact, they have started an organization to popularize the hyphenated identification. When there is an African-American, why not an Indo-American? When there is an Indo-American, why not a Hindu-American? All politics, I tell you. Nothing wrong. You need politics, Politics are needed. But the most unfortunate part of it is you bring all these politics into Vedanta. And complain against a person who speaks Vedanta. Look at that. Look at that. So, therefore, that immediate perception, or direct perception, means you do not allow any imagination of the mind, any definition, any description of the mind or by the mind to intervene. Just mere pure awareness of the being, that is represented by the expression I am. Even I am is only an expression. You don't need it also. To convey, I use it, but you don't even convey that. Just be yourself. Don't be this or that, as imagined by the mind. Become free from all self-definitions and self-identifications. Self-definition could be, I'm a professor. Self-identification could be, I'm a father. Because you look at a young man and say, I'm a father. Some kind of an identification with a relationship. So become free. They won't go anywhere. You can take them back. Nobody will take away. Okay? Suppose like I take out my coat and put here. Somebody may knock it off. Coat. But suppose I take out my caste and put it here. Who will take it? Nobody will take it. So, therefore, so allow all these self-identifications and self-descriptions to drop off and abide as the pure sense of being, awarer sense, pure, aware, full being, you abide. That is what is meant by I am. And even that I am you remove. You say I is. Why am? Am is a kind of a divisive word. With reference to what is the other, I say I am. Therefore drop the am and say I is. And then drop the I. Pure isness. In Hindi, we call it haipana. To begin with, I say who, my who. Then remove who and change it to hai and drop my. So, haipana, the pure sense of being. Another name for it, another way of saying it is awareful being. The being which shines as the knowing. That is the being. That is you. That is the real you. So he says, I have this knack of arriving at the real I. That is what he is saying. Real I arrive at it. Dear sir, how do you arrive at this real I? By giving up. You have to give up parityajya. Giving up what? Giving up all the namarupas. You cannot give up the namarupa called world by keeping your own namarupa. This is a huge problem. Suppose a Swami wants to keep his position, his status, his reputation, and so his sacredness or whatever you call it, his profile, he wants to keep it. This is a kind of spiritual ego. The rich man's ego is a different kind of ego. That ego is manufactured by these fleeting riches. And when the stock market dips, his ego will go into shatters. Whereas the spiritual ego is a different kind of ego. It goes with a profile, a status, a kind of superiority to other normal human beings. All imagined. That is the ego. And suppose I acquire that ego and I keep it. This is how the gurus of the world do, with worthy exceptions here and there. They keep that spiritual ego and then say Jagat Mithya. It sounds hollow. And then you have to change the definition of the word Mithya itself. Because Mithya is myth, Mithya, myth. Don't you see the meaning there? Father, pita, father, mata, mother. Mithya, myth. Don't you see that? So it's a myth. The world is a myth. But when myself, the spiritual ego, is so real for me, how can the world will be a myth? It cannot be a myth. Because the spiritual ego has no basis without the world around. There must be a world, there must be devotees in that world, there must be this artificial reverence of those devotees, all this tamasha must be going on, then only the spiritual ego can remain standing upright. Suppose this entire tamasha is a dream, it is dismissed as unreal, then where is your ego? It cannot, it has no foundation to stand. Therefore, you are obliged to say that the world is after all not so unreal. Not so unreal. A person asked me, hey Swami, is the world real or unreal? Unreal. What is meant by unreal? Now, don't ask me that question. You know what it is. You know what is meant by unreal. The real versus the opposite of real is the unreal. The rope, if you want explanation, the rope is real, the serpent is unreal. Go and jump in the lake. No, there is nothing more to explain about it. Or go and sit on the tree. Nothing more can be explained about it. You know it. You instinctively know what is unreal. It is not something which exists in spite of its appearance. That is what unreal is. Suppose there is no ego here, then there is no Namarupa here. Then looking around and dismissing the Namarupa comes very easy. That is the knack. That is the genius that we are talking about. That is the knack, the genius. I have that knack. Very simple. The simple is the direct perception of yourself. That is what I was saying. The direct perception of yourself without the intervention of the mind. Mind you keep aside. Please understand what you call mind is but memory. That is the mind. Keep it aside. You can be, just be, without the intervention of the mind. Allow the mind to become quiet. When the mind becomes quiet, you have given up the world of Namarupa, Vishwam Parityajya. You can do that. And as the Vishwam, the universe of names and forms, that is the universe, that is the world. The world is the world of names and forms. That is what it is. It is like the basket. What is the basket? The basket is the basket of old clothes. That is like that. Okay? That is the basket. Similarly, the world is the world of names and forms. It is a collective of names and forms. That is what the world is. And the names and forms are all the way the projections of an ignorant mind. I told you, you take out the name rose and kill the present. So that is the name. It comes from the memory, from the ignorant mind it comes. And so allow all the names and forms to drop. It is as well as it is same as saying, allow the mind to become quiet. Will it become quiet? Yes. If you allow it to become quiet, it will become quiet. It is in your hands. You allow it to become quiet. You don't force it to become quiet. Then it will come back with an opposite reaction. Don't force it. Just allow it to become quiet. It becomes quiet. And as it becomes quiet, so Vishwam Parityajya. Then with the same approach, you allow all kinds of self-definitions to be dropped. That is not difficult. It is not difficult. See, to know that I am casteless, creedless, etc., that should not be difficult. That comes easy. So, name varnaha, na varnashramachara dharmaha. Shankara in the Shashloki. These castes and creeds, they are not there for me. It is very easy to understand. I am a simple human being. That is enough. To see that the rose is a Namarupa, is a projection. To understand that, You need incisive thinking to understand that the caste is a superimposition. That comes easy, I suppose so. Therefore, to get rid of all these self-definitions and self-identifications, which are very misleading, to get rid of them, you see, to say, to know, really I am not father. Father is in a given relationship, a temporary name, nama. It is not real. To know that, do you need your son to revolt against you? You don't need. You need not wait till that point. Then you will realize anyway. He will tell you, I am done with you, have a good day. And so then you will realize, oh, I don't seem to be the father that I imagined myself. You don't need to wait till that point. This father, mother, brother, sister, these are all superimpositions and very contextual. They are not real. Like when you enter into a bus, they call you a passenger. A passenger. You see, once I was in California and they booked a room for me in a hotel. And they could have done in a small motel or some simple place, I could have gone. But they want to please me, and therefore they put me in some kind of a star, 2-star or 3-star hotel. And the moment I went, she registered my name and took my passport and saw everything. And then she asked me to extend my hand, and they put a band to my hand. I said, why do you put this band? I don't want this band. No, sir, you have to have it. What do you mean? I don't want to put this band. Just because I stay in your hotel, you want to put a plastic band? What about while sleeping, it will be there. While taking bath, it will be there. You cannot remove it. Thank God you are not putting shackles to my legs. I refused. You know what she said? Sir, you have to put it. You want to go inside, you have to put it. Then my friend suggested, Swami, nothing happens, put it. Then I said, reluctantly, I put it. She put it. I cannot take it out, it is very strong. These plastic things, you need a scissor to pull it out. So I allowed it to stay. And on the day of coming out, after 3 days, I extended my hand and she cut it and took out. These father, mother, brother, sister, these are all like that. Very contextual. You should not take them to heart. Okay. They are not real. Therefore, all the nama rupa you give up. Deham, how to give up the body? Sashariram parityajya. You have to give up the body. But to give up the body means what? You have to die or what? Not necessary. Not necessary. Simply know that I am not the body. In fact, you need not say I am not the body. It may sound a bit odd. I am not the body. It may sound odd if you don't know what it really means. It is enough to say, I don't have a caste, a creed, a race, a religion, a national identity. I don't have. I am not saying anything against patriotism. You have all the patriotism in the world, but you need not identify yourself as a particular label. So you can give up all that. You see, nobody says I am the body. People say I am Indian, I am Indo-American. That is how they say. Therefore, the definitions of the body, the attributes of the body, they take upon themselves. So stop doing that. The other day I told you, suppose I am not the body, then no caste, no creed, nothing remains with me. All is gone. Sashariram parityajya. You give up. And you look around. Everyone is Atma. Everything is Atma. There is no friend, there is no foe. There is only divinity. Everything is the same consciousness. The mountain is consciousness, the river is consciousness, everything is the same consciousness, which is myself. Therefore, you give up Vishwam. How do you give up Vishwam? You give up the Nama-Rupa distinctions. You give up the same Nama-Rupa with reference to you by giving up the identity with the physical body. So shariram parityajya aho vishwam. Now I acquire a knack. What is the knack? So that knack, what kind of a knack or what kind of a genius it is, I cannot describe it. Kutaschita kaushala deva. It is some undescribable knack. I can experience it, but I cannot describe it. It is like you taste a fruit and you enjoy it, but you cannot describe it. So similarly, all deep experiences are like that. You cannot put it in words. Not necessary also. That's why he says, out of some kind of a indescribable genius, I have communed with Paramatma. Paramatma vilokyate. What remains when all the namarupas on the object side and also on the subject side, when all of them are dropped, thereby the entire division of subject-object is collapsed. What remains is pure awareness, pure being which shines by itself, the awareful being. That is Brahma, that is Paramatma. The other day, I was listening to a Sikh saint, Sikhaha, you know Sikha, saint. He's a saintly person. He was telling, it is a very inspiring thing that he is telling. Guru Nanak Dev Ji did not believe in God because he knew God. We silly people, we want to believe in God. Whereas Guru Nanak Dev Ji, he did not believe in a God. He knew the God. The God is Sat, the presence. Shri, the beautiful. Akal, the timeless. That is the God. He knew that God. That God is the Atma, the innermost self, that pure presence. That is the God. That is the Paramatma. Vilokyate is a present tense. I am always in communion with the God. I am always in communion with the God. When you see God within you, you see God everywhere without. Paramatma vilokyate. This is how I realize the God. You see, I remember I have put a poem by Kabir before me. You must have heard it. Moko kahan dhoondhe re bande. Bande, dear friend, where are you looking? Where are you searching for me? Maito tero paas mein. I am very near to you. That is the Paramatma vilokyate. That genius, an indescribable genius in me, it helps me to see God in myself. When I see God in myself, I see God everywhere. That is the route. Not first to see outside and then come here. That doesn't work. That's why Ishvara is all, Ishvara is everything. This kind of statements, the high sounding statements, they betray some ignorance. Because you are supposed to say that like a parrot, you say that. And it sounds very high, but it may not work that way. In spite of the best intentions in saying that, it may not work that way. You should first discover God in you as that inner presence, undefined, indefinable, undescribed, indescribable, pure being. That is the God in you, beyond the names and forms. In you, in your own presence, the God is present. When you discover that God, you discover the same God all over. So that's why you arrive at that God by giving up all. Giving up means psychologically giving up. Shariram Vishwam Parityajya. You do not arrive at it by a positive effort in the form of a karma. Karma means positive effort. To accomplish something, you perform something. By that, you don't arrive at it. Na karmana. You arrive at it by negation, by dismissing the unreal. Dismissing the unreal as unreal is the precondition to discover the real. So, Kabir Das says, Maito tero pasme, tero or tere. Na terath mein, na morath mein. You follow? You follow? Na kantha nivas mein, na mandir mein, na masjid mein, na Kabe Kailas mein, na mai jap mein, na mai tap mein, na mai bharata upavas mein, vrata upavas. I am not in all that. Because what you do is in vrata, you worship a god other than you. You keep fast in the name of a god other than you. That is how you do. Namai kriya karma mein rahta. Kriya karma. This is elaborate ritualism. He dismisses that also. Nahi jog sannyas mein. You see, you put on the ochre robes and go to the forest, you don't find God. That is not how you find God. So Swami Ramatirtha told a person wanted to find God, and he went to forest and lived among the boulders on a mountain peak, boulders and brooks, water thing. So he lived among them. One fine morning, a tiger ate him up. Okay. And then there was a rich man. He was living in a palace surrounded by near and dear, all servants and doctors and physicians and secretaries and all that. A fever killed him. So, therefore, there is no difference between the two. You don't find God in isolated places like that. You find God in yourself. Nahi praname, nahi pindame. Pinda is body. You don't find it in the body. Na brahmanda akash mein. I mean, you look around upwards and you look all around and you find God. No. नामई प्रकृति प्रवर गुफा में सब श्वासों की श्वास में खोज होई तुरंत मिल जाओ. If you know how to find God, you find God quickly, very quickly. एक पल की तलाश में. Talash is search. If you search for God, in a second you will find the God in yourself. कहता कबीर सुनो भय साधो, मैं तो हूँ विश्वास में. Vishwas is not belief. Vishwas is not belief. So Vishwas. So you inhale and exhale, pranaha. And behind that prana, the pranasya pranaha, the origin of that prana, where from the respiration is originating, there I am. That is the God. Means the innermost self, the self of the self, the speech of the speech, the eyesight of the eyes, the faculty of hearing of the ears, the breath of the breath, the soul of the soul, that is where you find the God. Paramatma vilokhyate. Let us say one time the verse. Sashariramaho vishvam parithyajya mayadhuna kutaschit kaushala deva Paramatma vilokhyate yatha nato yato bhinnaha taranga phena budbudaha atmano na tatha bhinnam vishvamatma vinirgatam. That begins a new topic. The topic of Sarvatma Bhava. It is called Sarvatma Bhava. The verse that we have done now, it is the Viveka Bhava. The Namarupa you have to dismiss. They are not real, etc. And then we come to the Sarvatma Bhava. I will describe it in the afternoon at 3:30. Yeah, go ahead.
What is the meaning of Maya Adhuna?
Maya, by me. Adhuna, now. Yeah. Direct perception. Adhuna, now and here. Either you know it now and here, or you don't know it. Nothing like in the future. There is no future in any case. Only the present is the truth. To emphasize that, he said adhuna, now. Vilokyate, the present tense, not the future tense. So like you do this puja or this vrata, this pilgrimage, after death you will go to Vaikuntha, going to places. So you will go to Vaikuntha. Okay, what will you do there? You go there first and wait, so you will see God. Go there first and wait. Once I wanted to see one Mahatma. He's a great Mahatma, very popular. He lived in a town, in a village to begin with, but that village became a town because of that Mahatma. So I went to see him. So I landed in the train station and caught hold of a family that hosts me and stayed in their home, had some lunch and all that. And then caught hold of some of these associates of that Mahatma. I mean, the Mahatma is surrounded by many influential people. The coterie around the Mahatma, you know. There will be dozens of them. So caught hold of one of them through recommendation. Yeah. Somebody sent a message, our Swami is coming to see the Mahatma. He may not find a chance to see him because I'll make some arrangement. So that person, I waited outside the gate at 3 o'clock in the hot sun. And along with me, there are another 40-50 people waiting. Then this cohort of the Mahatma, you know, cohort of the Mahatma, he came. He is the most important person. He is standing on the other side of the gate. We 40-50 unhappy people, we are standing this side of the gate. And I raised my hand and my dress is also there. Hey, are you Swami TV? He has a name on it. Yes. So, okay, you wait here. And he went away. And I waited there. After 15 minutes he came. And he opened the gate a wee bit and allowed me inside. Because there are other 50 people. So I felt ashamed that I have to take priority over 50 other people. And then went inside. And he showed me a place, you sit here. And when the Mahatma will come, after 2 hours, now it is 4 o'clock, at 6 he will come. Then suppose I have to go to bathroom. That was my doubt. You see, I went to see the Mahatma, and you see my predicament. He said, Bhaiya, what kind of a person you are? You look at that? Yeah, I see. That is, turn right, there is a bathroom. Okay, good, but suppose I go, will I be allowed to come inside? Yeah, I will tell him there. Okay, thank you. Then I sat there. Exactly as I anticipated, at 5 o'clock I went there and went to the bathroom, and while coming, the door was closed. But then he was told. I told him. I took permission to come inside again. Will you allow me to come inside? Yes, okay. Then went to the bathroom and came back and sat. At 6 the Mahatma came. He was not walking. He was sitting in a sofa and people are carrying the sofa. Like that he came. I looked at him. He did not look at me. I looked at him. This is how you will experience in Vaikuntha. I did namaskar and came out. Then I understood, oh, this is Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha aisa hota hai. So this is the God you want to meet in Vaikuntha. You can meet by all means, but you have to go through all this. So not like that. Paramatma vilokyate. We come back. Oh.